Good thing you can't see me, otherwise my true identity will be revealed. Now, understandably enough, I'm actually a toothbrush salesman, and let me tell you, it's not easy work. But I do enjoy going to new places. When I was told I would be attending the International Dental Implement Buyers and Sellers Convention in Germany, I was beyond excited. Plus, the company paid for my voyage aboard a large Zeppelin airship of all things. That's right, I'm going aboard the SS Nomad. Well, that's enough about me. Let's catch up with the story at the aerodrome in New York City, where I'll be taking off.
Hello. Welcome to the Richard M. Nixon Memorial Aerodrome. A reminder that passengers weighing over 500 pounds will have to pay an extra fee to fly. Also, don't forget to visit our new dessert bar and chocolate fountain, located near the second floor lobby. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Hello, I'm George West, and I'm about to embark on an exciting adventure aboard an airship here.
I don't really care. If you're looking for the gates, they're over there.
Well, thank you, ma'am. You run a very tight information desk at the airport here. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my. I'm terribly sorry, sir. I didn't see you there.
Oh, that's all right, old chap. You don't look like you're too accustomed to flying. Is this your first time?
Well, actually, you're right. In fact, this is my first time flying. Floating.
You don't say. Well, I'm the president of Superior Dental Picking and Prodding Instruments Incorporated, and I've flown a number of times, though this will be my first time flying in an airship Zeppelin.
Wait, are you going to the IDIBS convention about airship too?
I'm assuming you mean the dental convention?
That's the one.
Oh, don't tell me that's where you're headed to.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe the only way to get to the convention is via airship. You would have think the Germans would have learned their lesson with the Hindenburg, but I guess
now
not.
Boarding to the Nomad to Germany.
Well, old chap, have you got your boarding pass at hand?
That I do.
Then let's be off.
Later, at the security checkpoint.
Who were those people?
Oh, those are the Travel Scrutiny Administration officers. They make it their business to hassle and annoy travelers for their own amusement.
Sounds like a failed system to me.
Please take off your shoes and put them on your opposite feet and simply walk through the metal detector without falling over.
What?
Hey, buddy, we're all very tired here, so would you please move along? Now I have some questions to ask you. Are you carrying anything that might be offensive to specific religious, ethnic, or people of certain socioeconomic statuses?
I don't think so.
Have you ever or are you conspiring to assassinate any officials or heads of state?
No, actually, of course not. Even if I was a terrorist, do you think I would tell you?
That question wasn't about terrorism, it was about assassination. Terrorism is the topic of the next question.
You're listening to the Airship Adventures of Captain Toothbrush. Now, let's look into the control car of the airship.
You know, Mr. Andrews, something about this ship just doesn't seem right. Something's different.
Well, quite naturally, Captain. They just finished remodeling her, taking off all that extra weight. Why, she's really a new bird, Captain.
That might explain some things, but especially these new speaking tubes. But do tell me, why on earth are we using these ridiculous old tin can telephones? I mean, seriously, shouldn't some electronic communication be ordered?
Just keep up with the tradition, sir. That's all.
I guess so, but something still just doesn't seem right.
I wouldn't worry. She's been fully inspected by yours truly. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to catch a plane to Chicago.
What? You mean you're flying to Chicago on an airplane? One of those heavier-than-air vehicles? Ugh.
Of course, I wouldn't trust my life to one of these balloons. Especially in the Windy City. Later, as the passengers are boarding the airship.
Welcome aboard the Nomad. You may put your luggage here, and it will be taken to your cabins. Welcome aboard the Nomad.
Quite a beauty, isn't she, Mr. West?
Yes, much larger than I imagined.
Well, tell me, where's your cabin?
It says on my boarding pass that I'm in a cabin on the B deck.
Ah, that would be on the lower deck. You'll have quite a view from there. I have a stateroom on the A deck. I guess with power comes privilege, eh? I'll see you around, old chap.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Robert Birdbrain for Public Radio. We're going to start off this hour with a live news report from Terry Disgusting at the New York airport covering the monumental launch of the Airship Nomad.
Thank you, Robert. I'm here in New York covering this exciting launch. In front of me is the giant airship Nomad. It certainly is the largest airship of all times, and I might mention newly remodeled. The ground crew has been signaled to release the ship, and it seems to be rising rapidly in the air. Unfortunately, it's rising so fast I can barely see it now. It's going into the clouds, and it's gone. Should I say, oh, the humanity. For Public Radio, I'm Terry Disgusting.
Meanwhile, aboard the Nomad.
I told you something wasn't right.
600 feet and climbing.
I'm pretty sure it's fairly obvious that we are climbing. Vent some of the lifting gas. I'm not sure what's in those gas cells, but it sure as heck is not helium.
2,500 feet and climbing.
Venting main cells now!
Throttle the engine at full power downward. We have to stop climbing immediately.
And we're beginning to level off now.
Good. Stop the gas venting. Cut the engines to half. It's time we get to the bottom of this. Someone's going to pay.
Later, in the ship's lounge.
Mr. Worthington, do all ships take off like that?
Certainly not. I have no idea what happened.
Why, John Worthington, is that you?
Why, Bartholomew, old chap. Fancy seeing you here. George, this is Bartholomew Ward, the self-proclaimed billboard baron.
Billboard baron?
Yes, he owns slightly less than half all the billboards in the United States.
Oh, well, that's quite impressive.
Yes, quite. I'm off to the convention myself to make some deals with some dental suppliers. Imagine rotten teeth as big as battleships along our public roadways. Would you two gents like to join me in the cafe? I've invited Duchess Dum Dum.
Ah, we would be delighted, wouldn't we, Mr. West?
Why, yes, of course.
Then it's all set. I'll see you at 6 o'clock in the cafe. Later that evening in the cafe. It's so nice of you to take me up on my offer for dinner.
Hey, waiter.
Oh, Bartholomew, it was such a lovely idea. It's so nice to meet your friends. Isn't little Georgie so cute? Oh, look, there's the captain. Oh, Captain.
Yes, ma'am. May I help you?
And I was just wondering what happened when we took off.
Yes, it was rather bumpy. Well, interestingly enough, the ship was somehow filled with hydrogen instead of the usual helium. We're still trying to figure out who was behind it, but I assure you we will.
Oh, wait a minute. Does that mean that this ship is still filled with hydrogen?
Which I might add is flammable.
Well, yes, it is, but...
Flammable! Explosive! Everyone! Stop smoking! Evacuate!
Calm down, ma'am. Calm down, everybody. There's no problem here. Smoking isn't allowed on this ship anyway, so there's no chance we're going to catch on fire.
Oh, my. There's quite a big...
The trip aboard the Nomad continued to go well, but the crew was on edge due to the fact that a tiny spark could set the entire ship ablaze, and the Nomad was never designed for use with hydrogen. And turning around at this point without missing the convention would be impossible. In light of the danger, the captain decided to keep the passengers in the dark, claiming a miscalculation of ballast had caused the incident at takeoff. This he hoped would keep them calm. Now, let's look into the control car of the ship on a stormy night above the middle of the Atlantic.
Someone give me a weather report.
Radar's all fouled up again.
See if you can raise a nearby ship and get their radar report.
Yes, sir.
Crow's Nest reporting.
Go ahead, Crow's Nest.
Looks like a nasty cell on our starboard side.
Oh yes, I see it now. Ma'am, or thank you, ma'am. Rudder, take us up to 300 feet.
Yes, sir.
Nothing on the radio, Captain.
Just keep climbing.
All right. We seem to be getting above it now.
Crow's Nest reporting.
What is it now, Crow's Nest?
Unidentified ship on the port side, 100 feet up.
Someone give me a spotlight on that ship.
Yes, sir.
Can you make any markings out on it?
No,
I can't.
no, sir. It appears to be approaching us. I hate to say this, but I feel it may be a pirate ship.
A what? That's ridiculous. This is the 21st century. On what grounds are you basing this assumption?
Well, they are firing grappling hooks at us, and I do believe they will try to board the ship from up here.
That's insane. What would pirates want with us? They only want luxury airships. Oh wait, we are a luxury airship.
Sir, the pirates have gotten pried open the hatch on the crow's nest. They would like to speak with you. Here is their leader.
I hope you can hear me, Captain. Because I'm only going to say this once, so I expect you to... So, now you know what we want.
Could you repeat that, please? I couldn't hear what you said in that last part.
Well, we want you to bring all your CDs and DVDs so we can make copies of them.
You want what? What kind of pirates are you?
Ugh! Media pirates, of course. What's the reason you have to watch those boring messages at the beginning of your movies?
Well, okay, but you're going through an awful lot of effort for something you could get for free from, say, a library for a whole lot less trouble.
Oh, we didn't think of that. Where might we find one of these libraries?
Well, we have one.
Say no more. We're coming aboard, especially because I need that latest season of Here Comes Honey Boo Boo.
Meanwhile, George West's toothbrush senses are tingling.
My sonic toothbrush is glowing. Something isn't right. Time to become...
Captain Toothbrush, Toothbrush, Toothbrush.
What is it, sonic toothbrush? Pirates? Software pirates? With poor oral hygiene, they must be stopped.
Captain Toothbrush makes his way to the ship's library, where the pirates are busy burning DVDs to their hard drives.
Stop right there.
Who the dickens is that?
I don't know, and I've never seen this man before in my life. Present yourself, sir.
I'm...
Captain Toothbrush, Toothbrush, Toothbrush.
Okay. Why don't you go peddle your stuff somewhere else? I'm dealing with a slight pirate problem right now. If you're looking for some extra toothpaste, I might suggest consulting the infirmary.
Have no fear, Captain Toothbrush is here with his minty fresh breath, ready to save the day with new Ipana.
That's really good. Close to the mic. Yeah, to the mic.
Captain Toothbrush. We will be sure to skedaddle. Just please don't brush our teeth, you scoundrel.
Back from whence you came, scallywags.
Yes, Captain Toothbrush. And so, with a few more minty threats from the oral hygiene superhero, the pirates left the ship and went on their way. Not without copying a few DVDs, of course, but that's to be expected. Now, we look into the ship near the end of her voyage. The captain has managed to keep the ship from blowing up this far. Now, it's up to him to bring everyone safely to the convention.
Enjoying your trip, Mr. West? Have you seen anything out of the ordinary?
Oh, haven't seen anything strange, per se, except for that bulge in your pocket, but I'm amazed at how smooth this trip has been going. Other than the distant hum of the motors, I may as well be sitting in a house. This ship is quite well built, I must say.
Meanwhile, on the bridge...
Crow's Nest
Just go ahead already.
Sir, there appears to be a flying flamethrower on the port side.
I think it's time to get a new watch. Wait, a flamethrower? Let me see that. Why, that's Mr. Andrews at the controls.
Hurry, Captain, do something! The ship will catch fire if that flamethrower gets anywhere near us!
Meanwhile, Captain Toothbrush's sonic toothbrush is going crazy. Unfortunately, he happens to be at lunch in the ship's diner.
What on earth is that?
I need to go make a phone call.
Well, that's very nice, old chap. Except for the fact that there are no phones to be found on this ship.
Oh, well, I'll just find a small room and gotta go.
Meanwhile, outside the ship.
Oh, the ship's rudder's on fire!
I'll save you. I'm Captain Toothbrush. How about some minty freshness, Fire? Have some toothpaste.
Oh, this is great fun, watching all this take place outside my very own window.
Yes, quite dear.
Now I'm going to tie up that flame. Now I'm going to tie up that flamethrower with some floss. Good riddance. He was never a very good airship inspector. Mr. Andrews was probably trying to start another Hindenburg or something of that nature to prove airships unreliable so that his heavier-than-air craft would take over the skies.
And so, the airship Nomad lands at the convention, smelling mintier and fresher than all the other airships, winning the award for Best Dentally Acceptable Ship. Captain Toothbrush, also known as George West, and John Worthington became lifelong friends. Bartholomew Ward and Duchess Dum-Dum became lifelong partners. The captain was promoted to a better ship for really not doing anything, and evil Mr. Andrews did not inspect any more ships. He wasn't available. The TSA remained cranky, and public radio still had its dull points. But one thing is for sure, you can always have an interesting adventure wherever you go. It all depends on what you make of your trip, and how often you brush your teeth. Thanks for listening, and Happy New Year from all of us here at
WCKR.
Wonderful.
Copeland.
Kids?
Radio.
and KOPE Radio. Stay tuned for an interview with the cast. We'll be right back.
Okay, so you have questions ready?
Yes.
Madeline?
Yeah. All right, so it's going to be Terry, what's her name? Terry Disgusting. I'm going to be interviewing you.
Okay.
Let's take
Is it the people or us?
the characters.
These characters, yes.
Yes. So you have to stay in character. Dusky, I don't have any interview for you, so you're fine.
Okay, we've got about 10 minutes. I'll start us off and lead us in, and then we'll go to Terry.
Okay. And I'll just ask questions. Say before you answer a question, say what character you are, and the next to my thing is who you should be. If you're inspired to say it from another character, that's fine. And you can be silly too. It doesn't have to that's just dumb. We were talking about what are your troubles on your airship. Like, well, the shower was too cold or whatever. So it doesn't have to be like pirates or whatever.
No. 18 seconds. And I'll do the NPR news lead and be George Bird.
Okay. For this first part, we have Duchess Dum-Dum,
Yeah.
Crow's Nest, Captain.
Hello, this is Robert Birdbrain with NPR News, and we're back with another live report where the cast of this radio drama is going to speak their minds. Here's Terry.
Hi, I'm back. Terry Disgusting. We've got a few of the cast here with me, so I've just got a few questions for you. What went through your mind when the airship Nomad shot up through the sky unexpectedly?
First mate here. I really didn't know what to think. I was frantically trying to hit all the controls, and I think I managed to shut off the electricity, and that kind of caused a little extra hecticness. Captain, what was your thoughts?
Well, I was thinking that perhaps we'd had some kind of sabotage, naturally, thinking Mr. Andrews had been so suspicious, but who knows? I was really in a different mindset. Mr. Worthington? Oh, yes. Well, my first thought was that perhaps the Earth had suddenly gotten a much larger gravity field, but that was thrown out of my mind in an instant, and I thought maybe the ship had flipped upside down somehow. But since it would be going up so quickly, they would just be staying in place. But I really couldn't tell. You know, the spur of the moment, your brain doesn't work so well.
Crow's Nest here. I totally loved it. I love reporting on all sorts of fun stuff. I mean, I've never had anything like that before, and it certainly was fun. Well, the captain's getting a little bit tired of my reports, it seems.
No, certainly.
Haha, Crow's Nest reporting.
Fascinating. Well, did you find your airship travels pleasant, and do you plan to ride on one again for future trips?
I, for one, found it very heroic moments for me, several of them. Captain Toothbrush was here to save the day, as expected, of course.
Well, I am Duchess Dum-Dum. I think that this was a very, I wouldn't call it a luxury airship at all. I mean, the showers were not the correct temperature. They were slightly too cold, and the food was satisfactory. It was nutritious and filling, of course, but I did miss the sprigs of peppermint, and garnishes were not up to my specific standards, and I would rather fly on much more luxurious plane, and
This is the captain speaking here. Well, as to your question, will I be flying an airship again? Of course I will. I just got promoted, didn't you hear? I'm going to be flying the Hindenburg No. 2.
And of course, as the narrator, you probably saw that I was not so enthusiastic about that.
I see. All right. Well, did any of you experience air sickness? I know that's pretty common on these things.
Me? No.
Oh, excuse me!
Dear
this
goodness.
is terrible.
That's Dum-Dum.
Oh, dear.
Anyways. Yeah, first mate, I've been on so many different airship adventures. I think this was probably one of the most thrilling ones, but naturally I didn't get air sickness. It's, I don't know, it's more of a natural experience for me.
Well, this is John Worthington here. Since I've flown in several aeroplanes before, flying in an airship really wasn't that different, though I did almost lose my lunch when the airship went rocketing up into the sky. Not from my stomach, though. Literally, it almost fell off the table.
But I did pass plenty of wind. Excuse me.
Oh, dear. This is...
what's it?
Onto a new topic here. This, I think, might fascinate you, Captain Toothbrush. How often do all of you brush your teeth?
Well, Captain Toothbrush here. I mean, what would you expect? Let's see, the last time I brushed my teeth was, oh, look at the time. I think I better be going.
And I was Polygrip Girl of the Year, so I don't really take very good care of my teeth, but I have some very nice dentures.
I heard that.
Yes, well, you had directed this question to me originally, so I think I will answer this. Yes, as to the Duchess, we provide a copy of Captain Toothbrush's toothbrush booklet in every passenger's kit as they come on board, along with a little travel toothpaste. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to get any of his fancy sonic toothbrushes yet, so as soon as we get one of those on hand, we'll let you know.
Never happening. Of course, my teeth are so unique, yours probably couldn't handle it.
Thank you for that, Captain. The dental convention is called the IDIBS. What do you suppose that stands for?
International Debating, Ignition...
Yeah, it's probably something in German.
Yes, of course.
I really don't care.
Oh, my. Well, since you, have airship traveling experiences, do you have any advice you could share with our hopefully interested listeners?
Yes, don't just ignore the toothbrush in your kit. It's important. As you can see from my, well, never mind about that, but you see this kit here that we provided. It comes with a toothbrush and floss and, well, we're still working on the sonic toothbrush part, but yes, very important.
Captain speaking here. I'd like to ensure all of our future passengers or prospective future passengers that nothing can possibly go wrong. Even when our airship was filled with hydrogen, on the verge of explosion, cutting and flaming, we were able to stop it. So don't worry. We'll always be ready for any disaster as long as Captain Toothbrush is on our side.
Yes, yeah.
Don't
you
eat
did
the
a good job on that,
spinach.
too.
It gives you gas.
Oh, that is dum-dum. Bartholomew, you've been pretty quiet this whole time.
Well, you know, I just let the Duchess do most of my talking, and of course I let my billboards do 99% of my talking, even though I own slightly less than half of them.
Yes, slightly half. How impressive.
Well, you know,
Now, what can you expect?
what can you expect from a billboard baron, and at that rate self-proclaimed?
What are your favorite hobbies?
Brushing other people's teeth. I mean, never mind my own. Other people's are more interesting, of course, and you can have a better view that way. Well, and then I also like to do model rocketry, and I fill them with all sorts of nauseous gases that make them do quite expensive things.
John Worthington here. Well, I desperately love making things out of clay, mostly unidentifiable objects, but I love to carry them around in my pockets and show them to people, but most of the time I never get to that because something or other always happens to me.
They're just dum-dum here, and I love making noise and cutting people off.
So we noticed.
On that note, actually, the captain's note, what was it with that giant sculpture in the middle of the ship? I wasn't quite sure what to think of that.
That was just part of our new renovations. I'm sure it had a purpose. I think Mr. Andrews... maybe we'd better get that off the ship.
Yes, it did look an awful one. Never mind.
Well, it looks like we're about out of time, but we thank you for tuning in, and we thank you for sharing your opinions with us, members of the cast. Thank you very much. And thank you for tuning in to the Airship Adventures of Captain Toothbrush. Featured in tonight's cast were James Copeland, Daniel Copeland, Curtis Copeland, Madeline Copeland, and Jessica Copeland.
So many Copelands.
Oh, yeah. What's that? It was written by James Copeland, sound by me, too, and also we want to thank all our videographers who are here, and all the wonderful time and work we put into it. Thank you, Curtis, for painstakingly typing up my handwritten notes.
Yes.
And thank you, Jessica, for being so cooperative. And we thank you for tuning in here on 94.1 WCKR and blogtalkradio.com/KOPE. Be sure to tune in next time for another exciting adventure from the basement of Grandma and Grandpa's house. Thank you for tuning in to WCKR.
Wonderful.
Copeland.
Kids?
Radio.
And thank you for tuning in to KOPE Radio. And have a very good night. And, by the way, Happy New Year in half an hour. Good night, everyone.
That's good. You forgot the music or the commercial, didn't you?
Yeah, a little.
Wait, oh, yeah.
It wasn't so bad.
Did you have the background airport noise though?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
It was just pretty quick.
Okay, now I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I really hear you.
I think the music, the NPR music was blaring loud.
Yeah, it was kind of loud.
Well. Okay, good.
Good.
Sounded good, kids. Time to tear down your wonderful WCKR, though.
Yeah.
Let's see where to start.